welcome to Nature's Neighbor. I am your host, Melanie Blankenship, and well, my co-host, Josh Carmichael, is at a meeting tonight that was important that he attend, and it's in the way Southland, so he wasn't going to be able to make it to the studio today. So, lucky for me, I got my North County connections, and so my North County connections is my sweet friend Sharon Lovelady that, ventured to Templeton all the way from Paso Robles to come and talk to me and to all of you about an exciting event that the Central Coast Rare Fruit Tree Growers Association, I always get that mixed up, Central Coast Rare Fruit Tree Growers has coming. But then it's also just fun in general to talk everything where it's seeds, plants. I mean, right before the show started, I informed her that I have a good source of caper bush seeds, that I'm in a stage of my life right now where I don't have the patience or the ability to pay attention. I'm just going to say it. The ability to pay attention to germinate them. And so she has just offered to take my seeds and germinate them. Like, guys, people have a lot of things in their life, but I have a lot of people in my life. That to have a friend like that you could just like, I'll take them and I'll do it. And it's not just having somebody do it. I know what this lady has done in the last year, right? I mean, and I'll be honest with you, I admire and I look up to you in the sense of what you've done, what you've built, what you're holding on to, but at the same time, what you're educating and what you're sharing. And, people go, oh, I'm a member of this group or I'm a member of that group. You can be members of a group, but when you are actively involved in making things happen in these groups, that to me is a member. You can't just put your name on it and call yourself a member. Sharon, what you've done with this group and the recognition that the Rare Fruit Tree Growers has received in the North County. And I've been an outside looking into the group for a long time. And you go South County, people know it. North County people don't know it. And that's where I'm excited to be able to have this conversation and talk about this upcoming event that you guys are having, but then also talk about everything else. Because Saturday, whatever day, days are going by too fast. You and I were having our conversation. You know what resonated in me after our conversation was, I was looking through your website and realizing how long this event has been going on, how many years, right? And then looking at the names of people that were contributing and realizing where are those people and who's following up behind them to contribute, okay? So that was what was resonating. But at the same time, how many people don't understand that if you guys don't do what you're doing, or people like that doing it, there's going to be an era of our lifestyle, next generation that won't see fruit that you and I have maybe just become familiarized or just learned about. People act like science has created these varieties or science has created this, right? Like, and somebody's just going to go into the classroom or the petri dish and create this. That's not how fruit gets formed, and that's not how fruit trees get grafted or changed or different varieties. And why is it important? Well, let's talk about disease and varieties and environmental changes. There's so many things that are important. And my question right off the top of this show, before I explain everything and then we're going to get into this event, is why isn't it a requirement that every high school student attend this event? Just putting it out there.
Right.
Because just to be a spectator of this event, learning from these people that know how to do this is priceless, honestly. Like, you cannot put a value of price on this because that knowledge has to be shared. And Absolutely. So with that, we're going to take a bit back because it's kind of a big, broad, heavy topic. Because if you haven't noticed, if that you've been following me, is the fact of the matter is I'm really realizing that we are at a point in our generations that it's now or never. And now or never in the sense of the way that it was isn't going to be. But we can take the good from what it was and carry it on. right? And let all the bad stuff go. But we got to be able to capture the good stuff. And we're not even doing that. And that's what's it was heavy on me right now, and really realizing that there's not enough of people willing to hold on and carry and teach it for the next. And why I'm saying that too is look at what's in front of me, right? And yes, Melanie got a wild hair up her rear and wanted to bring back childhood traumas. So as a little girl, my grandmother, my Nana, my dad's mom, Jerry Lee, I was at her house, and she was a Adventist. Everything was vegan, vegetarian. Everything was homemade in her home. You want to talk about health and health awareness? It was every day in that home. It was seasonal foods, locally sourced. You knew where everything came from. The wheat berries that got delivered in a big old natural sack. That my chore is the old mill that used to be a hand crank mill. You poured in the back, and then you cranked it, and it milled the wheat into flour, right? Well, my grandfather was an engineer by mind, a genius in my mind, in my eyes, but I think I complained. I was the first granddaughter too, out of all boys. Okay, so I think I might have complained enough to him that he ended up manufacturing a motor that was push button, so I actually could just pour it in. It was quicker, and then I could go out and race the boys on motorcycles and quads. But with that, my grandfather knew that was my chore. I had to mill the wheat to make the bread every day, not once, twice a week. It was every day. My Nana had her pantry that had several different starters in there where, towards the older, she got into the active dry, but she very rarely wanted to use any of that. But as a 51-year-old woman, realizing that I was craving bread and I couldn't just go buy it, because even just home baked or, locally made, I would ask them, do they know the source of the wheat berries that's coming from? All of them, I got a deer in a headlight look. And because of what I've known as a child, and I say this is trauma because I used to laugh because that trauma was like, okay, hurry up, it's a chore, gotta get it done, right? And we would get in trouble, so I'd had to do more chores. And believe me, I had a lot of chores. I was always in trouble. But at the same time, there was something about the smell. There was something about the quality, the moisture, the texture. Everything that was about what my Nana was having me do I didn't realize how much knowledge she was giving me just by doing, okay? She would teach, yes, but she was also that one that never bought skincare products in a package. I'll never forget the one time she came out of her bedroom and she had avocado and oatmeal all over her face. There was nothing worse as a little girl seeing your grandmother with green oatmeal face all over her. But, her skin was beautiful. Her hair, and she passed at an older age and lived a huge quality of life. But it was due to the health. But sourdough was such a huge part of my upbringing, not realizing how important it was. Me wanting a craving, found my friend who is in the Bay Area, who's still carrying on the same starter that we got in my Nana's friend in Weimar, which is up above Auburn. When my Nana would fall short on her starter, or got too cold, got too hot, whatever, that's who they would call, right? Her granddaughter still is keeping the same starter going. 'Tis of what you see in front of me, right? So now my children are going to know the chore. But now it's become I have so much starter, and now it's become, let's make cinnamon rolls. I have I'm going to start it gluten-free, and we started feeding it gluten-free. Nice. So I have gluten-free sourdough, and then I have a whole wheat with a pinch of rye in there just to give it a little bit of that whole wheat, or just our basic, red winter berries coming out of Montana that are still the same farmer that my grandmother still bought from. But wow. The sad thing is the difference in that situation. It's not the same business owner, but at the same time, it's the same soil, and they're managing it similarly the same. So it's important to me to teach this, because it's yes, I was blessed, not realizing I was blessed at that time, but I was blessed in that carry down, right? As simple as starting to go for the last year going, where are all the good baked goods? Like, why can't I get something really good, a rustic sourdough? I don't know if you can see this, Miguel, but, it's wrapped, because we're selling the extra, because, that's who I am, too. It's like, once I start growing something, it kind of starts growing out of my ears, also known as sourdough starter. So, yes, my kitchen looks like a science lab with all my labels of, what starter has what starter, So, I started doing this. So, yeah, we're selling it at Nature's Touch now, but it's also, I want to teach this because this is life too. This is not just bread. This is, and then look at all the craziness that, I can't have this kind of bread, or I can't, because it's all the ricins and all the chemicals that are in our breads now that are hurting us. Where this is flour starter, the flour that I know exactly what's in it. It's just wheat berries. Ground, it's milled. So my sourdough starter, water, salt. Woo, big recipe there, huh?
Right.
So like it's simple. It doesn't need to be complicated. It doesn't need to have everything when it actually just has good ingredients. Just like in plants. If we are starting with good stock, we can easily carry this on. But we also need soil and we need human hands to be able to keep this going. So, Sharon, please share with us about the exciting event that's coming up next month. We talked about it a little bit when you visited us last time, but let's get into this. Let's dive into the details of your upcoming event.
So Saturday, February 28th is going to be our Scion Exchange. For those of you that do not know what Scion is, fruit trees have yearly growths. And so the Scion wood comes from particular different types of fruit trees. So I have, and I'm just going to sort of make this less than what I really have. I have about 35 fruit trees at my house.
Yeah, you're taming that down a little bit there, lady.
I am. And so from those, every year as we start pruning, we start collecting Scion wood. And the Scion is what we use to graft on to rootstock. And so we have probably 300 plus, I'm going to say, members of the Central Coast chapter of the California Rare Fruit Growers. And I'm going to say that at least 50% of us, maybe a little more, do grafting every year. We collect Scion wood, and on the 28th of February every year, we share that Scion wood with the community. The California Rare Fruit Growers, we're a volunteer organization. All of our meetings are free to the community. We don't ask for anything other than, show up and learn some things and meet some of our members. Some of our members are in their 90s, and it's fabulous because they have so much knowledge that I learn something at every meeting, I can tell you. We have rare fruit growers that love to experiment. So I can tell you from my father, he was a master gardener and a rare fruit grower, and he loved to graft. And once you get that love of grafting, there is no limit, if you will. So there's some people that graft different types of, I'm going to say, fruit onto one tree, and it becomes a fruit basket, basically. And you can do it so that you can harvest different fruits at different times of the year. And
on one stalk.
On one tree.
On one tree.
Right. And so this exchange, what we do is we all come together, and it's not just our Central Coast. We have California Rare Fruit Growers that come from Northern California, that come from Southern California. We've had people that came from other states. California Rare Fruit Growers are not just Californians. So we actually have chapters worldwide. And in California, we like to go to each other's Scions Exchange because
Different.
we all have different trees in our yards. And so, for instance, I love figs. And my grandfather, who I learned a lot from, like with you, he loved figs. And his thing is that he liked different types of figs, but because he lived in a smaller, he probably had maybe a quarter acre, right? How many trees can you put in a quarter acre? Not a whole lot. So what he would do is he would graft his different fig varieties onto 2 trees. And so,
Smart.
yeah, and so there's nothing more exciting than when your graft actually works, when it actually grows, when you see the little leaves coming out, and then when you have a fruit that actually comes from that graft.
So if I can envision, I would envision that fig tree as a tiger eye, a panchay, or the green with slightly yellow. So the tiger eyes are the yellow with green striping. Panchays are the opposite of that. But both of them have strawberry centers. And then I'd probably go like brown turkey or a celestial fig. That would be if I did 3 grafts on one fig tree. Just getting a summertime dream going on here of picking each, because each one will come on different.
Right.
But I would have figs starting from June until first frost.
Right.
And I mean, that is not a bad want.
Right.
There's nothing better than those figs. And that would be the ideal. And that's, to me, it's like, instead of us planting crepe myrtles or that make a mess, right? that, that host the sharpshooter, or, take a lot of water to make them bloom, or, we need a consistent winter to be able to get them to bloom. And they really don't produce that beautiful bloom like we see in the South. But why wouldn't we put a fig with 3 different grafts on it in our landscape that would be suited for what to feed us, right? Like that would, to be able to do it. And, you're talking to somebody that, as a nurseryman and somebody that sells, I'll be honest with you, it's hard to sell an apple tree that is grafted with multiple different fruits, right? Because you and I both know that at times, if it's not pruned right or maintained right, it's not going to produce those 3 different types of fruits. But when you learn to do it yourself, and you know what to look for, and it's not that hard. That's what I'm saying. It's like, when you can learn from the pros that are doing it and teaching you, and you get to pick what fruit you want on that graft.
Right.
I mean, why not? And why not be a part of something as, how rare and how cool. This event reminds me of like our small olive press. Yes, you guys have your different chapters throughout California. You're international, but the rest of our country has no idea what we're capable of doing and what we have to play with here in California.
Correct.
Just this event alone. Like, to think about how you can go around and pick your fruit basket.
Right. And so California Rare Fruit Growers, because we're all volunteers, and everything that we enjoy doing is we are teaching the community about fruit, about growing, about everything from grafting. Last month, we did our pruning workshop where we taught pruning. And we have an orchard at Cal Poly. We have a demonstration orchard. So first we did a classroom where we had a presenter that was talking about different types of pruning, and then we took the community out into our orchard and actually let them, with their pruners, help us prune our trees. And so at the Scion Exchange, we'll be selling rootstock so that you can go into the Scion Exchange and pick your Scion, then you can buy the rootstock, and we're going to have grafters there with tables, and you can watch the demonstration, or if you'd like to try it, we have grafters that are going to let you do that hands-on, right? And
So awesome.
We have a store that we sell a lot of different varieties of, I'm going to say, planting. So we have everything from bird netting to clippers, right? We have the tape, we have the glue, we have everything that you would need to graft. And then we'll have different types of expert, if you will, our rare fruit growers walking around and talking to the community. We all teach to our communities. So we go into the schools and we teach grafting. We go to Rotary and teach grafting.
She's coming to Templeton Rotary in 2 weeks. So
right, yeah. And so I'm not going to actually teach grafting, but I'm going to demonstrate it. And you can come to the Scion Exchange and actually do it if you want to.
exciting.
And then in March, we are going to do our propagation meeting at the Seven Sisters at the Master Gardener's Garden in San Luis Obispo. And there, we're going to be showing seed propagation. I'm going to be doing herbs. So I'm going to show how to cut some rosemary off and put it in the ground and grow more rosemary. So I'll have lavender, rosemary, I can do salvia. I'll be showing different types of herbs because you can go and buy, right? You could go and buy,
business, yes.
right? But you can also harvest that from your home and make more.
But you got to
right?
also remember, yes, I'm in the business, and I will always protect my people that we've all been in the business together. But at the same time, it's, for all of us, I know I can't do it all. 'Tis the caper bush seed situation, right?
I'm excited.
But I'm that person, and when do we eat all of the same? You know what I mean? But it's important. If you have land or you have soil, if you don't have food on it, then what are we doing, right? Like, this is my push to even any of this. And if we have a healthy society, there's plenty of ways to make a living, okay? And that's to me, it's like, yes, I have been that person that's like, maybe given away too much as a business owner, but it's also been 29 years in doing business for myself. And so of course there's more bills every year and I got to work harder, but that's what's important. But I'm that person that it's been for the last 29 years. So rewarding when I get to explain. You realize you're not going to need me all the time. Like, I'm going to sell you a plant that you're going to come back in 10 years and 20 years from now. If you don't overwater it and you just leave it alone, I promise you're going to be so happy. And,
right.
And to me, that's such an honor because those people are then the ones that come back and buy a different plant at a different season because they saw the ability of a healthy start to be able to get it going. And also, too, I'm also that education person that enjoys it. I make enough, right? And at the same time, I'm also realizing now that it's not just about making a living. We have to, yes, got to pay the bills, but it's bigger.
Sure.
It's not just keeping the business. It's keeping a community and a society going and making it healthy again. So that's what it is. And I'm excited because I can talk grafting in a sales setting, but there's so much detail to it, right? And I love that people are out there teaching it and being able to understand what it is. And not every plant is. I mean, most of the people don't realize that most nurseries now are selling sterile stock, that you can't do it, or you graft what you see, but it grows to something else. Like you have to know what you're playing with.
Right.
Just like seeds. We talk about seed saving and how excited I am to share my caper bush seeds with you. It's not just I'm sharing just seed packets that I have. I've gotten them from a source that I know where they've come from, and I know that I'm actually getting a live seed from it, right? And so people don't realize the majority of stuff now is sterilized or it can't reproduce anymore. And that's the society that we've become, right? It's sterilize it, make it look pretty, sterilize it so it can't be carried on. You and I are the opposite. We're those ones that are wanting to teach to be able to carry on so that we have choices in the future, that we don't have to eat one red tomato or a red apple or a green apple. They've given us choices, red or green, but they forgot about the yellow and the pink, but it's, or the like tiger eye figs, or panchet. There's nothing better than a tiger eye. It's like, was crazy to me, 25 years ago when I had my first tiger eye. It literally was that good that I can still remember when I bit into it, okay? The gentleman, the Japanese man that fed it to me in Santa Barbara, also fed me a Reed avocado that was like this big, and the pit was this tiny, okay? And I was just like, I'm in love with you for the rest of my life, right? He had a few avocados and these beautiful figs, and then he did bonsai plants, and that's what he sold at Farmers Market down in the Saturday, Santa Barbara, and I was right next to him selling produce. And when I took a bite out of it, I'm like, what am I eating? That does not look like a fig. And it was like paper thin skins, and it was, it's giving me the chills talking about it and remembering how good that darn fig was. And so, but then as it opened my eyes to varieties, and I was loving standing next to him, because he came from migrant field worker family, right? In Santa Barbara. And they planted avocado trees. Their family planted avocados. They planted figs. They planted, in the Santa Maria Valley, bok choys and, all these different Asian greens that then most people didn't even know about, right? And to learn it from him like I did and listening to him teach, because everybody was laughing going, is that a volleyball? Like asking him what that avocado was, right? And how he explained it to him, and how where that Reed avocado, I know as a Reed, he called it something else, and I still can't remember. But I'll never forget, because he was talking about soils, he was talking about regions, and he was talking about how lucky we are in California that no matter where you are, you have an idea, you can grow it. You got to maybe build some infrastructure, but you can grow it. We're not getting ice storms and being -10.
Thank goodness.
I saw the thing on social media that said, a mosquito bite and a sunburn sounds really good about now, and it's -10 outside. And it was I never thought I would hear anybody appreciate a mosquito. But it still resonates in me that we can still do this no matter, we don't need commercial ag to feed us.
No.
We have the ability to have in our own yards our own food.
Right.
But it's at the same time, it's work, it's dedication, it's love, it's understanding that no matter what we're doing, it's life, and it's carrying it on. Food is not something you just consume. Food, every time you take a bite, is an experience. Like that sourdough cinnamon roll, I was only supposed to eat one of, and I justified
it was amazing.
I justified I needed another one because I shared. Okay, I shared with her, so I had to have another one. Okay, it was like, it's just that it's an experience, and if we could look at food like that and understand that it's health, it's livelihood, but it's taking on these events, or even if you don't even see the need to grow a grafted fruit tree or wanting. But just going to learn what you're going to learn from all of the guys that are there with the different varieties of fruit alone is pretty exciting. And I am super excited. I'll be there. Super exciting for this event.
Yeah. And there's so much more, that, we talk about everything from watershed to pest control, those pesky squirrels and gophers and shrews and moles. And then depending on where you live in our county will depend on what you can grow, what are some of the difficulties. So I live 12 miles out of Paso, and so
on the east side,
right? And so my microclimate is different, and there's one of my neighbors and myself grows citrus. Nobody else out there grows citrus.
You can grow those grapefruits that are to die for.
The chiranjas, right, from Puerto Rico, and so. It's just one of those things, and really my father was the one that said, just plant it. If it grows, it'll grow. And so now I have loquats. When I grew up, that was my absolute favorite. I grew up in Orange County, and we could grow stuff like that because we were closer to the ocean.
But Orange County had to, that region north has got to be like the Garden of Eden. If you really think about the possibilities of what's grown there already and what we still can grow, is like.
We had a banana tree, right? And so
When I was a little girl, my Nana, the same grandmother that used to do this, we used to special order bananas out of Santa Barbara, the Rincon area.
Oh, right.
There used to be a banana. There were the little ones. They were like plantains, right? Which is Puerto Rican. Most Puerto Ricans also know, or Cubans, they all know the plantains. I was supposed to be there next week, by the way. I was supposed to be in Puerto Rico next week. We flew out February 5th. We chose to postpone our trip due to Puerto Rico being the new refueling station for fighter ships going to Venezuela. You know,
Yeah,
but I was going because it was like I wanted plantains. I wanted to see the grapefruits. I wanted to see, you know, this is why I travel. I want culture is what I was looking for, and so we will go, but it's just not next week. And so, but yeah, I mean, just that right there, like.
So I planted them.
Santa Barbara. I used to get bananas from Santa Barbara.
Right. So I planted the loquat. I planted one, and it is doing beautifully.
You're so pretty, huh?
And I love the fruit. I was really worried, you know, because I have killed things, I can tell you, because
Y'all have.
sometimes, you know, and
Trial by error.
and now I have 2 cuttings that I took from it, and then I'm going to be planting in the spring.
That's exciting.
I know. I'm super excited
I
about
find
that.
those. I have a blood orange that I.
That's what I want.
Okay,
I want
so I did it. So, my father-in-law was again another human being in my life that walked on water, and he built my mother-in-law an octagon-shaped greenhouse. So they have their sitting room in the middle, and then where it's always the warmest, but it was octagon where she could grow in the soil, and it was like kind of growing around,
Oh, nice.
you know, in there. But what did he? Her and him, what did they plant? Citrus, because in the North County on the west side, we're too cold. Like, I've tried to, you know, do Meyer lemons in the warmer area. I got to go higher on my property, but it's too cold and it's too. I don't have irrigation at the top, so so I have to do it in the low. And I'm in a valley. That's why I grow apples, right? Because it's how cold it is. But citrus and I don't get along. But my father-in-law built this amusing, beautiful greenhouse. You should see the blood oranges right now. And we're still a little green. You know, we haven't gotten the full color yet because she has to open all the sides to get the cold, just enough to be able to get it to ripen.
Right.
But her navel oranges, her lemon, she's got lesbian lemons in there. Oh, Sharon, like, okay, so and then come in like 3 months, you walk in there and all of it being in bloom. And we have kumquats. My Mexican lime, or also known as kaffir lime, I'm not supposed to say that, but kaffir lime isn't doing very good because even my soil's too cold. I need to get it closer to the Amazon to get it to produce better. But look at you build a little infrastructure.
Right.
My blood orange tree came from a cutting, so it's about this one that's blooming is the mother stalk. The one it's still growing. I'm about 4 to 5 years away from it fruiting. You know, only 4 to 5 years for my cutting to grow into fruit. So, and just know those caper bushes, people, like this is why it's not just handing her these seeds. You know, caper bushes. People don't realize capers. We all see them in the jars, and there's 50 to 60 capers in your olive oil or brine or whatever they're pickling those capers are. That's the bud of the caper bush. You have to pick them tight before it opens up. If you've ever seen a caper flower, I think it's one of the most beautiful flowers there are ever. It's super. Bees love them. But you then let the flower go, right? You pollinate it, and then it shoots out this stamen, which is very crazy because it's like, and the way that it gets pollinated is very strange. But it doesn't always get pollinated. And so there's certain years that you'll get a seed. So again, that's why you don't see them easily in nursery stock.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
And then, ready for this? Germination. Put it in the soil. So keep it moist, evenly moist, not too soggy, not too dry. 3 to 6 months. And it doesn't, like, you can be consistent on your monitoring of temperature of soil. It's up to that seed, what temperature it wants and when it wants it. So who knows, right? It has to do with how it was pollinated.
Right.
What temperature it was pollinated at is what the soil temperature. How are we going to know that? You know what I mean? So it's kind of trial by error.
I like experiments.
You're going to get one. Okay. And then from when it germinates, so 3 to 6 months, then it's another year and a half before we can transplant it because it doesn't like the main roots bothered, right?
Yeah.
And then from that point, we have 7 years until we're going to see our first caper.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a lot of things we got to do, Sharon, but
Right.
we got a lot of years we got to be patient for good things to come.
So I'll put it in different spots in my greenhouse. That's kind of what I do. Because sometimes they don't like the top shelf. Sometimes they don't like the middle shelf.
'tis the reason why I don't have the patience right now. to do
Well, and I'm retired, right? So
thank you.
that's all I do is play in the dirt.
Lucky.
I
want
teach.
to grow up to be that.
Yeah, I teach gardening at the elementary school. I absolutely love that.
What elementary school? So our
Piper,
listeners-
Winifred
yeah.
Piper. And I just love that because children, they love to learn, right? And so, and a lot of the kids have not been taught, I'm going to say, and have not been educated in how our food is brought to us. And so I came home one day and I told my husband, I said, this little boy came into the garden.
I love this story.
And he said, Mrs. Lovelady, who put that carrot in the dirt? And the only reason why he knew that it was a carrot is because he could see a little bit of the orange. And so I pulled it out, and we had this whole discussion about, carrots, and I showed him the seeds, and there was a lot of kids that didn't even know that popcorn came from corn. So we did a whole I did a whole day on popcorn, and I actually took the microwave bags and cut it open and showed them.
There was actual
There's kernels.
It's not, the microwave doesn't create magic.
No.
Oh,
Right?
No, isn't
Yeah.
that sad? How about this? My kids, it was years before they even knew you could put popcorn in a microwave. They always thought, that's why they very rarely did it, they always thought a cast iron skillet with
Right.
a lot of butter, and you had to keep moving it over the
Right.
open fire. That's what, and then tinfoil, the dome of tinfoil, right?
Right.
That's how we made popcorn.
Yeah.
And it was, and then my kids are all, Mom, that's no fair. All you have to do is pop it in the microwave and you got popcorn.
3
I'm
minutes
like,
and-
guys, not the same, not the same.
Right.
But yeah,
Right.
see,
Yeah.
and I mean, our world is existing, right? It's existing the way that it is, and our children that have been taught or haven't been taught, I'm sure they're going to be fine. But are they thriving? Are they capable? Are they ready and resourced for the next stage of their lives? And I think that's where most people, for me, everybody that when my son was graduating for high school, or my daughter, or when my son graduated from college, it became the conversation as, aren't you so relieved? Like, you're done, like, right? And I'm like, yeah, it's different. I go, I'm that person that, I'm paying my kids to stay home. But at the same time, it's like, did I do enough? Did I give enough? And that's not give in the materialistic things. It's, did I give them enough resources to carry on? And I'm going to tell you right now at 23 and 20, what I am noticing in my 23-year-old now is it's not, he will never come back and say, Mom, you did tell me that. Or, Mom, you were right. I am never going to be right. I admit it, okay? I know now I will never be right. But at the same time, it's funny to hear him talk about the exposures. I'm doing the same thing. Look what I'm doing with this sourdough or baking bread. It resonated in me because I was just doing it because I wanted good bread. I was like bummed that I had opportunity for others that just couldn't seem to figure it out. But then I'm like, it's not that hard. And I did it, right? And I brought it back again. And my aunt goes, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how much you were like your Nana. And I went, oh. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, and it didn't, to me, it wasn't a dig or an insult or a compliment, anything. It was, to me, it resonated into me of like, again, another situation where as a child, because my mom and dad worked outside of the home,
Yeah, mine too.
I was super grateful that I had my grandparents or the people that were taking care of me at that time were willing to share with me or willing to teach me.
Right.
It wasn't about babysitting me. It was sharing with me.
Right.
And that's what I think we've lost. And that's what you're doing. And the moment I met you, I've admired all the things that you have done. that I know of. I mean, just the seed library at the schools and the seed library at the Paso Library, like that alone right there is just like something so grateful that you've taken the bull by the horns and are doing it, right? And, you know.
I enjoy it.
Yeah, we need more of you, right? But at the same time, too, we need more people to not necessarily be like you and I out in the public doing it as much, but just take 5. Step back and reevaluate your system. You know, yes, you're parenting, but are you sharing? Are you teaching? Right. Are you exposing? Things that need to be exposed to that will resource your children for that next generation. So again, Miguel, I might be influencing them over here. If you hear the children's noises in the back, we're very blessed because we have the little Miguel mini-me's here in the
Super
studio
cute.
with us. And oh my gosh, they're so cute. Daddy, we have Daddy a couple of times in the show. And you know, and at the same time, again, I'm super grateful that he could create this podcast with us. And look at, he feels safe enough to bring his children in here. And again, he's doing it. He's being a father, he's figuring things out, and he's teaching his kids, right? It's responsibility. You got to be quiet right now. You got to sit down, you know, and they're good kids. I admire the fact mine would be bouncing off the walls. My bull in the china shop son of mine would have found all the glass in here, you know, so, you know.
There's a lot in here, right?
This is Sonia's antique shop now.
Right.
So, and then our little studio. But see, again, it's carrying things on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, say the date of the event.
It's Saturday, February 28th. We start at 11. We end about 4. We'll be selling trees. So that was the other thing, is that we have a lot of us that propagate trees, and so we'll be selling fruit trees. I mean, I understand, you know, you can buy from nurseries and all of that. These are trees that have actually been started from our trees. Let me just say that, right?
So you're passing them on,
right?
And then the money goes to the actual organization.
Cal Poly. Well, so all the money that we raise goes towards scholarships for Cal Poly students.
Right on.
Yeah, so we don't, you know, we're a not for profit for sure. All of us are volunteers, and any monies that we raise go straight to scholarships. So we're giving, and actually at the Scion Exchange, we're going to be giving the scholarships to the Cal Poly students.
Right on.
Yeah, at that.
Right on.
On the 28th. And so, second Saturday of every month, we have a meeting, and we go to different places. So sometimes we go to our members' gardens. Sometimes we go to different nurseries and different growers. We've gone to the mushroom business. We've done a lot of different things, and so it's really fun, and we're all very open to questions, you know, because things come up all the time. You know, the black fig fly, right? That's been on, that's kind of been on a lot of the conversations. But you'll learn what a pheromone strip is, right? So we put those on our fruit trees to keep the moths away, right? Because there's a lot of pests out there, and the majority of us, I'm going to say, we don't use pesticides. Like we're very big on, either, using different types of insects. I mean, for me, I grow a lot of lavender and a lot of different pollinators, and so I attract, so that I attract different insects that will take care of the aphids, for instance. So you just try to manage what you have. And I think the other thing that I think that's really important is that you don't have to have acreage. You can actually grow fruit and vegetables in a pot on your patio or your balcony.
Huge amounts.
Yes. And so I think there's a lot of that knowledge also that comes from, coming to our meetings and talking to a lot of our members, because like I said, I learn something every time meet.
I'm not expecting you to know if you, but has a gentleman, Ron White from Rincon Vitova, has he ever come and did a presentation?
I think
for
it's
you? It's been a while.
It's been a while. Yeah.
So there's a whole new management system going on down at Rincon. I wonder, Rincon Vitova Insectaries. You guys, if you've followed me for the last, I don't even know how many years I've been doing a radio show podcast, I've had them on my show several times, and I'll be honest with you. I don't use pesticides, and you want to know how I can prove it? Call Rincon Vitova and ask him what my last statement bill was.
Right.
So, and happily, like honestly,
Sure.
like because it's flawless. It's literally you're planting life to deal with life you don't want there, right? It's as simple as that. And anything, I call him and I'm saying right now ticks. I all of a sudden started seeing ticks on my dogs. It's gotten cold.
Wow.
Yeah, got cold.
They're looking for warmth.
They're looking for warmth, and so are we all. But I mean, just they have, soil treatments that different types of biological control in the soil to help manage it. I'm going to justify it with buying more guinea fowl. Maybe more animals are needed, but I can always justify everything with that. But just 'tis the emus coming home. The Rincon Vitova is that place that it's like the wealth of knowledge that is a part of this company. Ron is also, and his wife, they've built pesticide maps, so that you understand for pollinators, like where ag is using, what they're doing, and why they're doing it, so that you know what to expect in your situation, too, because of drift or whatever. I mean, there's just so many things that they've done. And they also have understood residual. You want to talk about any pesticide with them, or insecticide, or fungicide, or inoculants, right? These are all chemicals. It's not just pesticides. But we can talk like that with them and go, okay, I don't want you to plant beneficials because of the residual of that. It's not going to be beneficial for you. If you go spend the money on this, you're not going to see the reward at the end. Like I'm just always amazed in everything that I have dealt with on my farm, and has conquered it as simply as a phone call, an email, everything from tomato worms to aphids. I'm, all about lacewing larvae when it comes to aphids. Maybe that's why I don't see aphids anymore. Yeah, I don't. I have not seen aphids in years because I know, right? But also because I have the host plants that the lacewings have multiple generations now living in there. I mean, they're like me. It's like I giggle because I'm like, I don't need that this year. Why? Well, because I don't have that problem this year. But it's like me selling a good plant that person's going to realize it's like, okay, I don't need to go buy another one, but there's other things that occur. It's not that I'm never going to need them again, because you're going to need a different type of basil next year. You're going to come see me. Next year it's, in Carcia famosa for the whitefly, or it's going to be, a new caterpillar that we don't even know about. Yeah. Sent it off, and sure enough, they identified it, told me what the host was, conquered the host, and guess what? I don't have that moth anymore. So there's just so many things about, again, the company right here on the Central Coast, they're in Ventura, that we can't be without, because it's that easy. And they work with backyard, they work with, big guys. My Crescent Valley Meats processing plant, they're working with Clark Pest Control for our processing plant to have an integrated pest management instead of just chemicals. But even with our plan, if we have to use chemicals, we need, we do it at a strategic time, not just do it whatever, kind of thing. It's full management system. And again, it's what we all need, right? And so
I'll definitely give them a call and see if they.
I think they would be super excited to be a part of your event too. So let's have them out and maybe get them on the show too.
Yeah, no, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, super fun. All right, date again. Remind everybody about the date.
Saturday, February 28th. We start about 11 o'clock, and we're usually done about 4. It's at Cal Poly.
Yep.
So it's at the Cal Poly, just right off of Highway 1. We're right at the crops unit. So you'll see the signs, you'll see the CRFG signs, the parking, Cal Poly, the crops unit is kind of they're building, let me just say that.
They're under construction.
Yeah, so you can go to our website and it'll show the maps of the actual event where everything's at. It'll show you where the parking is, and you know, it's just a great time, and rain will not stop the event.
That we don't melt, right?
No, we do not.
We don't melt if it rains.
Right.
You know, we aren't
Right.
made of sugar. I eat a lot of
Right.
it, but we're not made of it.
Right.
Guys, also too, just know, Sharon, you can reach her through the association, but she wears many hats. So there's also the library seed banks. I'm gonna have to have
Robles?
Yeah, Past Rebels Seed Library, the Past Rebels Library. You go check it out, okay? You guys got to learn about this. I'm gonna have you come back and we're gonna just talk seeds
Sure.
because there's a whole topic that we could be sharing an hour on that one too.
Right.
And especially this time of the year, we're almost there, right?
Yeah.
The soil is warming. We got to talk about bare root, guys. I'm not stocking very much bare root for nurseries because there's a lot of other nurseries that really need our support. And if you have soil. And you know how to build your soil without having to use a lot of irrigation, it is time to plant fruit trees and get out there and support our other growers and other nurseries of plant stock. And again, how cool is it that you can join their event and they're going to be selling stuff that they've already grown and seen how it grows. So support this. We need to get more plants and food into the soil so that we're guaranteeing our future for those. Coming up next, Eston too. Look at the little mini me over there trying to. She needs her earphones too, Daddy.
Right.
You know, she wants to push buttons over there, Daddy.
Right.
You know, so see, look at.
She'll be your helper.
I think that she is my future co-host.
There you go.
You know, so
She'd probably do a fantastic job.
Super cute.
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys, it is that time. Reach out. You can always find us on all the social medias, of course. You can always find me at Nature's Touch Nursery and Harvest, as well as Creston Valley Meats. Josh should be back next week. Cross your fingers. That man is going 100 miles an hour. And don't forget, we have all this beautiful sourdough fresh baked at Nature's Touch. It will be available tomorrow starting at 10 o'clock because that's when we open. Have a very good week.
Thank you.